very good evening to all of you. Shri Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya Ausa, District Latur. It's organized World Record Series 2. Today is 176th day of the World Record Series. And the keynote speaker for today's session is with us Honorable Professor Priya Dubey Madam. So I welcome to you, Madam, for the dais. I will the Chief Organizer of the series, Honorable Principal M.M. Bedkar, sir. I welcome the colleagues from my college, Dr. Sanjay Kale, sir, Anita Dole, Madam, and others, and heartily welcome all those dear participants. The topic for today's presentation is an intelligence and machine learning in healthcare. This topic is going to present Honorable Priya Madam. She is Assistant Professor from CSE IILM University, Gurugram. So with this brief introduction, now I request Honorable Priya Madam, please start your presentation on today's topic. You are most welcome, Madam. Please.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm starting with my presentation. I hope my screen is visible to you all.
Yes, Madam, it's visible.
Okay, sir. So I'm starting now. So today's topic for presentation is artificial intelligence and machine learning in healthcare. Now, before coming to this topic, first of all, the first thing that is need to be discussed is what is artificial intelligence and what do you mean by machine learning? So first of all, artificial intelligence, basically it is the intelligence, it's basically a technique by which the machines are trained to behave like human, or they can mimic the human behavior. They are supposed to think like human and act like humans and to give responses like human. Now this AI technique, it is revolutionizing almost all the industry, be it robotics, our day-to-day activities, or the healthcare industry. It has revolutionized the healthcare by leveraging advanced algorithms and patient data, because nowadays a lot of data is generated. Like the data is generated every day through MRI scan, diagnosis, through blood test. Lakhs and millions of people are being diagnosed every day. So data is generated every time, every second. This data can be used to train the machine learning algorithms, which in turn will help in the classification of patient into two categories for a binary classification problem and into multiple classes for different or you can say multi-class classification. Okay, so AI is revolutionizing the healthcare by leveraging into algorithms and patient data in order to improve the diagnosis of a disease and to give a concept of personalized medicine and to discover a new drug. Now, machine learning and deep learning techniques. What do you mean by machine learning techniques and deep learning techniques? So basically, artificial intelligence, it is a technique in which machines are trained. Now, how machines are trained? Machines are trained by making them learn certain patterns in the data. This learning is categorized into machine learning and deep learning. Machine learning, it means the machine or the computer system, it is fed with data which may be a labeled data or an unlabeled data, and it studies the patterns between the data and draws some insights from that data to give certain results. And there are two types of problem basically. One is the prediction problem and other is the classification problem. Prediction, when I'm talking about prediction, it means to predict whether that person, what should be the sugar level of a patient. When I'm talking about the healthcare, it should be what should be the sugar level of a patient, how much the what should be the stage of the cancer. That could be a classification problem if the person is suffering from a particular disease or not. Suppose my research is in cancer. Okay, so this I have applied different algorithms of machine learning to analyze whether the patient data that I'm having, from that data I can draw an insight that the person is suffering from a cancer or not. So in similar fashion, the AI technique, it is used for diagnosis and early disease detections. Okay, now this AI algorithm assists in designing personalized treatments as well, because from the patient data, some patterns can be withdrawn, and a person, a machine learning engineer, he can draw an insight. Okay, this data this data requires this much amount of treatment, like it should be a prolonged treatment if a person is having a particular parameter of certain value, then this should be the proposed treatment for that patient. So in similar patterns we can assist the patient in designing personalized treatment plans. Now, in drug discovery, also, the artificial intelligence, it accelerates the process by identifying the drug targets and predicting the compound efficiency, because it can accelerate the process. Basically, like if a person, if a earlier times what happens, that data were generated and a particular patient will go to uh, suppose an oncologist, and he will study that MRI scan and the data, and he will propose that okay, you are suffering from a particular disease and you are this stage of a cancer or not. Now this has been reduced to a certain amount, and just immediately after the scan you have some certain data generated, which makes it easier for the oncologist and also for the patient himself to analyze the severity of a particular disease. Now, the ethical consideration and regulatory frameworks are also need to be addressed to ensure responsible use of AI-driven healthcare solution, because every technique, every technology comes with pros and cons. So there could be a loss of data or ethical consideration, because you have to maintain the patient's identity. You do not have to disclose the patient's identity when you're talking about the AI driven healthcare solutions, because patient identity is not to be revealed, because that is a very unethical thing. Overall, AI has the potential to transform the healthcare delivery, augment clinical decision making, and significantly improve the patient's outcome. Now, this was a brief idea about what this topic is all about and how artificial intelligence and machine learning is revolutionizing the healthcare. So, I had already explained what do you mean by artificial intelligence. It's basically an ability of machines to perform tasks that typically require the human intelligence, or machines are made to mimic the human behavior, be it a speech recognition or decision making. The best example of AI technique nowadays is the Siri that we use in iPhones. We give a command to Siri, Siri, please play music, please play a particular song, and the Siri plays the song. So it's acting like a human. The Chat GPT that we are using, which is very trending nowadays, that is also a very good example of AI, and basically belonging to a particular category, that is generative AI. Okay, now machine learning. Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence in which the machines are trained through labeled or unlabeled data, and the machine itself studies the patterns between the data to give a certain result, be it a prediction problem or a classification problem, and they are not explicitly programmed to do so. There is a certain set of algorithms, and it's very easy to implement the machine learning algorithm. Next is the deep learning, which, as the name suggests, it is a deep learning in which the machines mimic the way the human brain works. It basically works as an artificial neuron, artificial human brain. It's working as same as the human brain, that it takes inputs from the dendrites and gives an output through axon. It works in a similar way. Although deep learning is a very important topic, but this is not to be discovered into this presentation. So I'm not discussing more about the deep learning algorithm. Now, current application in healthcare. So, what are the current application of AI and machine learning in healthcare? So, first of all, it is used for diagnosis and predictions. As I told you during the introduction only, that AI and machine learning algorithm, they help the doctors to diagnose diseases and predict treatment outcomes more accurately by analyzing large amounts of data. As I told you, that the data is generated every day from the blood samples, from uh, all the MRI scans, CT scans. Let's get into a good example for this for a better understanding. Suppose I'm working on a prostate cancer, and what are the data that can be generated from patients that are suffering from cancer? So it is the PSA level, it could be DRE, that is digital rectal exam level. It could be the prostate level, the size of the tumor, the sagittal size, the transverse size, then the age of the patient. So these type of generate data is generated every minute, every seconds, and the machines are trained through this data that for certain amount of input that a person is having this much of age and his PSA level is above 4, his DRE is above 2, then the machine can come into a conclusion that this patient can be classified into positive cancer, or the patient can be classified into a negative cancer result. So this is the way in which the ML algorithms, they are used by the health practitioner or by the healthcare industry to reach into a conclusion or for the early diagnosis of a disease. Next is the application is the drug development. The AI, it can help the pharmaceutical companies to discover new drugs and speed up the approved drugs process, because training the machine learning algorithm requires very less time as compared to computation by a human, and therefore the drug development becomes easier because that particular drug can be trained on so much existing data sets, and therefore it can be helped to discover new drugs. Next is the robotic surgery. Robots are basically based upon artificial intelligence and machine learning technique, and the robots can perform surgery with a greater precision that requires less complications, and therefore the recovery time could be increased and the risk of infection can be reduced. And the fourth point is the personalized medicine, which is the latest application of AI in healthcare industries. The researchers nowadays, they are using the AI techniques, like they are using the classification classifiers and the predictors to suggest personalized medicines, personalized treatments for patients depending upon the severity of the disease and if they are suffering from some other complications. For example, a patient who is suffering from a cancer, he may also be suffering from a he may be diabetic. So, a certain drugs like a lot of antibiotic or a lot of anti-cancer drug, it can increase the blood sugar level, which could be very dangerous for the patient, and it will increase the diagnosis type. So uh, we cannot go for a common drug for all the patients, and therefore the concept of personalized medicine came into picture. And with the rise or with the increase in AI techniques and increased use of techniques, it has also increased to a greater extent. Now, coming to the benefits of AI and ML in healthcare, actually, this is the same as we discussed in the last slide, that it results in improved diagnosis because diagnosis time has been reduced as a lot of data is generated and machines are so accurate to perform this diagnosis. Then is the reduced cost. The AI and ML, it helps in reducing the medical cost because a person who may be suffering from a particular disease and just through a simple blood test the data is generated, okay, you are not suffering from this disease, then he will not go into a uh, complicated test or a costly test, like it won't go for an MRI scan or CT scan. In that case, if a simple blood test could give him a good result that you are not suffering from this particular disease, why would he go for a costly treatments? So this is how the cost is reduced. Then is increased efficiency because by automating the routine task and delegating simple procedures to the algorithms, doctors and nurses, they can focus more on patient care because their time has been saved. So the efficiency increases automatically. Next is the increased patient access because the telemedicine and remote monitoring, the patients in remote areas, they can also get access to the doctors and the treatments and without traveling the long distances, this improving the access and the outcomes. Now, since we have discussed about the applications of AI and machine learning in healthcare, and also discussed about the benefits of AI and ML in healthcare, I want to just show you a brief journal article which is published recently, and it's one of my article only to give you an insight about how AI and machine learning is transforming the healthcare industry. Okay, so just coming to this paper, just wanted to show you. Yeah, so this article is titled Advancing Prostate Cancer Detection, a comparative analysis of PCLDA SVM and PCLDA KNN classifiers for enhanced diagnostic accuracy. So this paper, it basically what is done, that a data set is being taken from National Cancer Institute of US, and the machine learning algorithm is used such as the SVM and KNN techniques to classify the patients into three categories: one who is suffering from prostate cancer, the other who is having a high prostate level but he is not suffering from cancer, and the third category is suffering from cancer. So this is basically a multi-class classification problem, and SVM and KNN are used for enhanced diagnostic accuracy to classify the patients into these three categories. And the machine learning algorithm that I have used in this model, it was able to achieve an accuracy of 97.8%, and it is highly efficient. And I have used ML algorithms. Before applying the ML algorithms, a lot of data analytics, data science engineering is also performed on this paper. Okay, so let's not go into deep about the paper because we have a time limitation as well. So I will be talking about the challenges and limitations. So when I'm talking about AI ML in healthcare, so the first thing that comes to my mind is the data, because every ML algorithm is trained through data. It can be labeled data in which you know what should be the input and what should be its corresponding output. And it could be unlabeled data in which the machine is only fed with the input without any knowledge about the output, and it just reads the pattern to give an output. Okay, so when we are talking about the data, then the data quality is of utmost important because the data that is generated, it should be from a valid source, It should be coming directly from hospitals, or it should be from trusted sites like trusted data repositories, like it should be from Kegel, UCI, or it should be directly taken from institute of utmost importance like National Cancer Institutes, or from any health institute in which the doctors themselves have verified that data. So the data quality is of utmost important. And what are the features that affect this data quality? The timeliness. It should be within that complete time. Like you are taking data of past 5 years, you are taking data of, because when talking about the health disease, the time span is what matters. It cannot be just for 10 days. It should be a huge data. Like the data I was using, it had 1,78,000 elements. Okay, so timeliness matters, then the completeness of the data also matters. The data that we are getting from these data repositories, they are most of the time in a raw format, and therefore needs a lot of feature engineering to standardize that data. And this is what the data validity means. Then is the accuracy. The data should be accurate, it should be standardized, it should be normalized, so that there is no discrepancies in, or there is no discrepancies in data, and all the data is not redundant. Okay, so in order to ensure integrity and consistency in the data. Then is the human interaction. Another challenge is the need for human oversight and intervention, as an algorithm are not yet able to make complex decisions on their own. Like I told you that the machine learning algorithm that I was using in cancer detection, that is 97.8%. But still, there are chances that the machine was not able to make accurate prediction up to 3%. Why this is happening? This is happening because machines, they are not yet fully trained, and therefore human interaction is required. It may happen that a PSA level is very high and the patient comes into category of no cancer, which is not acceptable, because a false negative can lead to huge complication in patient. Okay, so, and the last one is the security and privacy, because healthcare data is highly sensitive, so it is essential to ensure that it is protected, and cybersecurity threats and privacy breaches are taken into concern, and the identities of patients are not revealed without their prior consent. So there are ethical considerations as well. First is the data bias. The AIML algorithm can inadvertently perpetuate existing biases and discrimination such as race or gender in healthcare. Like talking about the data that is in raw format, it may consist of columns like male and female. So okay, these columns, they can contribute to some extent when the disease detection comes into picture, because a patient, if he is a male, he is likely to have a much higher value of blood pressure, suppose, and a woman may have a low value of blood pressure or blood sugar. So, gender sometimes they contribute towards a particular result. So, but the race or gender, race of a person may not contribute, because it doesn't matter if you are white or you are black, that you are suffering from a particular disease or not. So, data bias has to be taken into consideration. Second is the transparency. The patient and healthcare professional, they need to understand how the algorithms work and how they make decisions to ensure fair and safe, reliable results. And last is the accountability to be, which means that there should be protocols to be followed before accessing data, so that the algorithm errors or malfunctions could be avoided. Now, what's the future potential? The future potential is enhanced education. This is about the AIML. They can enhance the medical education by providing tools and simulations that enable students to practice the skills in safe and controlled environment. Then the preventive care. because AIML can help physicians identify the potential health issues before they become serious, and public health because it can identify the potential outbreak of a certain disease in real time and therefore leads to an increased public health. The conclusion is therefore that AIML have enormous potential to transform the healthcare industry, leading to better patient outcomes and reduced medical costs. Then there are also significant challenges and ethical considerations that need to be addressed to ensure safe, fair, and transparent use of AI and machine learning. And last is that as healthcare professionals and consumers, we must work together to harness the power of AIML while also mitigate the risks and challenges associated with it. Thank you so much for the presentations, and I would like to have questions from your side, sir. ओके ओके सर सर देखिए एक्चुअली इस टॉपिक के बारे में क्या है कि आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस जो कि लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी और मशीन लर्निंग वो हमारी डायग्नोसिस में कैसे हेल्प करे हेल्थ केयर इंडस्ट्री में उसकी क्या कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशंस है तो सर बेसिकली डेटा जो है मेडिकल डेटा खासकर वो हर मिनट पे जनरेट हो रहा है बिकॉज हर मिनट पे एक पेशेंट जो है वो ब्लड टेस्ट करा रहे हैं मतलब आप नॉर्मली भी हम हेल्थ चेकअप करा लेते हैं तो काफी ज्यादा डेटा जनरेट हो रहा है वो डेटा किस लिए यूज हो रहा है मशीन लर्निंग एल्गोरिथम्स को ट्रेन करने के लिए यूज होता है उससे क्या करते हैं वो प्रेडिक्शन कर रहे हैं क्लासिफाई कर सकते हैं डिजीज को जैसे सर मेरा ही काम है प्रोजेक्ट का तो उसमें मैंने क्या किया मैंने मशीन मेरे पास डेटा था मैंने नेशनल कैंसर इंस्टीट्यूट से डेटा जनरेट किया और उस डेटा को मैंने डिवाइड कर दिया उसमें जैसे प्रोस्टेट लेवल साइज ट्यूमर का साइज का डेटा है कि भाई किस पर्सन का कितना एज है उसका ट्यूमर का साइज क्या है तो मशीन लर्निंग एल्गोरिथम को मैंने ट्रेन किया तो वो मुझे क्लासिफाई करके बता देगा कि इस पर्सन को कैंसर है या नहीं है ठीक है अब जैसे हम डायबिटीज का डेटा दे रहे हैं तो क्या दे सकते हैं एज दे सकते हैं फिर पर्सन का जेंडर दे सकते हैं शुगर लेवल कितना है तो उससे मशीन लर्निंग एल्गोरिथम ट्रेन होता है वो इतना एफिशिएंट होते जा रहा है कि वो डायग्नोसिस कर सकता है और एक बीमारी जो कि काफी जैसे अर्ली डायग्नोसिस कर सकता है स्टेज ऑफ कैंसर पहचान लिया उसने तो बिफोर गेटिंग इनटू द फिजिशियन एक पर्सन को ऑटोमेटिकली पता चल रहा है अच्छा मुझे ये बीमारी या फिर इसकी पॉसिबिलिटी है हम पॉसिबिलिटी भी डिटेक्ट कर सकते हैं तो वो प्रिकॉशंस लेके उसको अर्ली डायग्नोसिस इज ऑलवेज गुड इन केस ऑफ सीवियर डिजीजेस तो वो उसको प्रिवेंट कर सकते हैं हम या उसके अकॉर्डिंग मेडिसिन ले सकते हैं सो दैट ट्रीटमेंट टाइमली स्टार्ट हो सके तो इसी तरीके से और भी बहुत डिफरेंट एप्लीकेशंस है एआई मशीन लर्निंग के हेल्थ केयर इंडस्ट्री में जैसे सर आज आने के वाले टाइम में बोलते हैं कि रोबोट्स विल डू द सर्जरी so they are also based upon AIML. So this is what it is all about जो कि मैं बोल रही थी सर.
Hello madam.
Yes sir. Yes,
hello
sir.
madam.
Yes sir.
Which algorithm madam which algorithm is good according to performance wise supervised and supervised or reinforcement?
Sir, it depends purely on the data that you have. Like I had a data which was a labeled data. ठीक है उसमें आपको इनपुट डेट मतलब ये भी था कि भाई इनपुट का ये सर्टेन आउटपुट हो रहा है कि वो पर्सन के ये सारे फीचर्स हैं तो वो कैंसर में था तो मैंने सुपरवाइज लर्निंग यूज की अगर मेरे पास वैसा डेटा नहीं होता सपोज कि मेरे पास इमेज का डेटा है और मुझे नहीं पता है तो मैं उस टाइम अनसुपरवाइज लर्निंग एल्गोरिथम यूज कर सकती हूँ और सर रीइंफोर्समेंट लर्निंग वाला जनरली हम इस क्या मतलब डिजीज डिटेक्शन में थोड़ा सा अवॉइड करते हैं वो बेसिकली गेम प्लेइंग वगैरह में यूज होता है
Okay, madam, how we can do balanced data in machine learning?
Balanced data.
Yes, madam.
So I'm not getting your question. Like you are talking about standardized data.
Balanced data. If in data, suppose something is missing in data
yeah,
set.
okay, I understand. हाँ सर तो इसमें आपको ये actually what you can do first of all you know about heat maps sir you can basically plot a heat map to look into data कितना ज्यादा मिसिंग है और कौन से फीचर्स मिसिंग है अगर रेलेवेंट फीचर्स नहीं है सपोज कि अगर जेंडर मिसिंग है ठीक है किसी का और वो डिजीज जेंडर पे बेस्ड है ही नहीं तो आप उसको रिमूव कर सकते हैं, उस पूरे रो को ही आप हटा दीजिए नल वैल्यू है तो, अगर उसकी बहुत ज्यादा वैल्यू हो। क्योंकि सर अगर मान लीजिए कि मेरे पास 80 कॉलम्स है, ठीक है, उसमें से मेरी एक पर्टिकुलर फीचर के बहुत सारे रोज मिसिंग है, ठीक है, तो वो कोई सिग्निफिकेंट कंट्रीब्यूशन तो करेगा नहीं मेरे रिजल्ट में, तो वी कैन रिमूव दैट डेटा। और कुछ जो फीचर्स है जिसमें काफी कम डेटा मिसिंग है, तो वहां पे हम क्या कर सकते हैं, बहुत सारे टेक्निक्स होते हैं, जैसे हम उसके एवरेज वैल्यू से या मैक्सिमम अकरिंग वैल्यू से उसको रिप्लेस कर सकते हैं। We can replace that using the minimum value of that column or the maximum value या average या फिर maximum occurring value, एक pattern study करके, because सर ये सारी feature engineering का part है, तो वो आपको उस domain का knowledge होना चाहिए before going into that, otherwise the data will not be in standard format.
Madam, last question from my side. What is
Yes.
overfitting and how we can avoid overfitting in machine learning?
Yes, sir. Actually, overfitting is when the machine gets so trained on a large data set and it gives a good result on the training data set, but on test data set, it fails to give result. Okay, on validation data set basically. तो ये हम अवॉइड कैसे कर सकते हैं सर, इसके एक कि हम जो है एल्गोरिथम को हल्का सा कॉम्प्लेक्स कर देंगे, बट उससे क्या होगा, फिर मेरा जो है वेरिएंस तो ठीक हो जाएगा बट बायस इंक्रीज हो जाएगा, ठीक है। तो उसके भी और भी डिफरेंट टेक्निक्स आते हैं सर, अभी मेरे ध्यान में एक्चुअली नहीं आ रहा है कि कौन कौन से ओवरफिटिंग के टेक्निक्स हैं, बट वी कैन डू सर्टेन कि हम टाइम को थोड़ा रिड्यूस कर दें, ट्रेनिंग डेटा को थोड़ा कम कर दें, तो ओवरफिटिंग रिड्यूस हो सकती है।
ओके मैडम।
एनी क्वेश्चन सर?
Hello.
No question from my
Good
side,
evening, sir, Principal Sir, Prashant Sir, and Priya Ma'am. Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation about the AI. And it will be a future of the whole world AI.
Yes,
But always a man is always behind the machine. It will not happen like machine will run man. So
Yes,
what do you
sir,
think
sure.
about this one thing? Because the inputs are very important for AI, and even I belong to medical field, and definitely it will help in gathering information and predictions and what we call it as exact word prognosis.
Yes.
So it will help in prognosis. And but the thing is, the skills what man is having, what we call it is kaushalya. A surgeon is having a skill in his hand to move his scalpel. So I think that how it will work, for even it is a personalized. It will use physics. It will use anatomical structures and everything. But still, the human hand will require somewhere in behind these machines, AI. No doubt AI is helping so much that nowadays, we can get a kind of a graphical statistical presentations of our patients and even medications in homeopath. I'm a homeopath. So we are getting medicines, means the list of medicines which are close to the symptoms of the patient. And like that, it is helping a lot. But always human mind, human brain, human thinking behind, is very much
Yes, sir.
necessary.
So actually, that is yes, sir. Actually, that's the thing. There are different types of AI, like stages of AI, and we are in the world in the stage of weak artificial intelligence, where the machines, they can behave like human, but they cannot overcome the human intelligence. And this thing I have already discussed in my presentation in my second last slide, that the machines, although they can generate a very good result, but they cannot overcome humans, and human intervention is always needed. Humans, because a person has to, after running the algorithms as well, we have to uh, consult a physician, an oncologist, or any medical surgeons before coming to the final results. That is always needed, because we are in weak intelligence, and the idea of that super artificial intelligence is far from the picture, because scientists, some believes that it's a contradictory thing, that some believes that it will happen, but most of the people believe that as the machines are learning, we humans are also learning day by day. So human intelligence can never be overcome by anything.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. We see all these kind of things in the various English movies, that fiction, movies, all movies, where the man and machine and programmings and all those things we are going through. But of course, definitely the human mind, the human brain is unique, and there is no replacement
So
for it.
because we are also evolving with time, as the machines are evolving, because they are learning from data, we are also generating data because they are based upon artificial neurons, and that is basically the picture of human brain. So human brain is also evolving day by day.
And hope AI will help in various diseases, where we cannot go further. Means where there is no progress, we have to give up at some point for our patients. But definitely AI will promote us, to move further, and it will help for you, means the humankind. Because there are diseases like immunological diseases, neurological diseases, genetic diseases, where still we are fighting and we are not getting a right answers. So I think AI will help in this regard. Thank you very much, madam, for your presentation to this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, dear participants, anybody who would like to ask, please come. So thank you, Honorable Vikrant sir, Dr. Swanand Shukla sir, for the chief organizer of the series, Honorable Principal Ambedkar sir. Sir, please welcome. We have some concluding words for today's session. Welcome, sir.
Yes, sir. So I got disconnected actually.
So thank you very much, sir. Now I move towards the vote of thanks. Shri Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya Ausa recognized Bell Record Series 2. Today was 176th day of the series, and the topic was very significant for today's sessions. That is artificial intelligence and machine learning in healthcare. This topic have presented so clearly, sincerely by Honorable Professor Priya Madam, where she expressed that about what is an artificial intelligence, then different applications in healthcare, benefits of artificial intelligence and machine learning in healthcare, then different scientific reports. Also highlighted the different challenges and the limitations, data quality. All these points have covered in her lecture sincerely. So really, it is very useful, madam, today from your side. So I appreciate the lecture. Thank you very much on behalf of organizing committee members. You have paid your valuable time to us and expressed your views upon the topic so nicely. Thank you once again. I thank the chief organizer of the series, Honorable Principal M. Ambedkar, sir. I thank the colleagues from my college, IQAC coordinator Dr. Sanjay Kale, sir, Anita Dole, madam, vocational supervisor Praveen Utge, sir, and all others. And heartily thanks Dr. Swanand Shukla, sir, Vikrant, sir, who always take a part in discussion session, ask wonderful questions in the series. So thanks to you. And at last, thanks all dear participants who join the series regularly and enhance the beauty of the series. So thanks to you all once again. Now I request all the participants, please fill the feedback link which is given in the chat box. So with the kind permission of chief organizer, I declare that today is over here. Thank you for being with us. Thank you very much.